Hey garden guys and gals, it's Steph with Tiny's Garden and I am coming to you from April 2nd, a Saturday here in Zone 5B in the Chicago suburbs, and we have a snowy day. It's sticking today, isn't it? We are in my greenhouse now where I am currently running the heater. It's not a professional system, but it gets the job done. And we're sitting right around 54 degrees. And that brings me to my topic of today's video, which is taking inventory of all the seedlings that I've already started this year. And let me tell you, that's trickier than you'd think. So we'll go over numbers back inside in a second, but I wanted to bring you out and look at some of these cold hardy annuals that I've hardened off and are in the greenhouse right now waiting to go out when our weather clears up just a little bit. It's still just a little too cold. I've had some wins this year and I've had some challenges, we'll say, this year as well, but I'll show you some of those along the way. And spoiler, we've got over 1,000 seedlings to go over. I'm not going to do every single one. I'm just going to do some that stick out so this video is not 45 minutes long, but hang in there with me for the ride today. Hopefully you'll find some of it helpful or at least interesting. And I've got questions for you too, because I need some help on a couple things. So let's dive in. Let's go over successes first. I've got some great trays of sweet peas here, all different varieties, even some with a really unique leaf that's longer and narrower as opposed to the usual sweet pea. That's Heirloom Electric Blue, I believe. And then some challenges. I had a couple trays of sweet peas that just did not do well, and surprisingly one of them was the only tray I used root trainers for. Same thing with this tray. It's a little better than the root trainer tray, but not great. I think somewhere along the watering stage or fertilizing stage it did not like something, but I didn't really do anything different between those and the good ones, so we'll see. I think these should still take. Arguably my healthiest looking crop, stock. Look at those stock babies, gorgeous. I've got a couple here that I had to pot. I just noticed this one has a little injury on its leaf, but it should be okay. This tray here is the tray that I did my culling through stock video on, and really happy with how it's doing so far. These should all be double blooming. So if you want to try something new or you're a beginner, I recommend stock, because this year and last year it's done really great for me. And some on this side too, doing really excellent. Then we have some bells of Ireland. Look at those. These are ready to go out. Absolutely. Good germination on these overall for being my first year. I've even got some little ones in the same tray as a big one starting to come up, but I think it was beginner's luck because I know some people have a difficult time with them germinating, but overall mine did pretty well. Over here we've got calendula that's looking beautiful. That is the flashback mix and touch of red buff in here. Then next, these longer, narrower ones is bachelor buttons. Classic Fantastic, Classic Romantic. Bachelor buttons is also one that's one of the coldest, hardiest, how would you say that? The hardiest? Yes. The most cold hardy, there we go, that you can put out first. So these are ready to go out as well. Let's get into more of the challenges. Now with Iceland poppies, I'm calling it a win as well because they're notoriously difficult to start from seed, but I've got some spotty germination in some trays, and in other trays it's looking pretty good. Hello, look at all that green. This tray was a botanical interest tray that I started, and it is from February 10th. And this is by far the one that's doing the best. Over here, obviously not as good, but right through the middle, I'll take that for the first year all day. When we hop back here, these were these the same day? 211. And this is the Champagne Bubbles mix. You can see they just didn't do as well. But this is also that mix that I use, the seed starting mix, that I think is terrible. Don't get the Bago or Bacto seed starting mix. It's just a mess. Now on to what is arguably my favorite, the Snapdragon babies. Some are looking really great, actually even some that I didn't think were so great in the beginning, and the ones that I thought were pretty good in the beginning are not looking as great. So let's take a look. So this tray here is the tray that had the worst germination, especially right through the middle, but the ones that have germinated are looking gorgeous so far. So these overtook my trays with really good germination. These over here, the Opus 3, and I think those still look pretty good. But then I had these leaves really start to curl under, and I decided I thought it was overwatering, so I took these guys inside for a few days, and I think maybe that was not the right thing to do. Like, that one's looking like it's coming back a little bit. I'm just worried that they're stunted. So if you know Snapdragons really well, let me know if you think these are stunted or not. Stunted means they've basically stopped growing and probably won't grow anymore, which would make me incredibly sad because these are 72 cell trays, and that's a lot of Snapdragons to not grow. But these back here look pretty good and have bounced back. So maybe I just need to relax and give them some more time, because this tray over here is looking better than it did. I'm still a little worried about some of these guys. So let me know your opinion if there's anything else I should do. But I'm thinking I should not take them inside again. And the Potomac Apple Blossom Snapdragon that I was having a difficult time with is actually doing pretty good now. So it's just kind of bizarre how things have switched, but I will have some. I'm not gonna worry too much. It's all a part of the learning process, but it's just interesting how that can happen sometimes with growing things. Here's a tray of Costa Apricot, the Apple Blossom, and Chantilly Bronze. And again, these were all started on February 11th, so all the same day. And the only thing I can think of is that this tray has been out here in the greenhouse and with cooler temperatures the longest. And they're cool flowers, meaning they can handle cold. So I think maybe that's my takeaway. Comment below and let me know what you think. And real quick, if you saw my bulb update video, you heard that the big display of tulips I planted up by the front door up here, I was really worried aren't coming up. Check this out. Just 3 or 4 days later, this happened. Look at those babies. Obviously, the snow conveniently is covering a lot of them, but you can see their little tulip heads starting to poke up. This side especially, all the way back through here. So they're coming, gang. They're coming. Let's go inside. Let's talk some numbers now. Ta-da! I'm hoping you can see this okay, but I decided to write down every single seedling I had starting and categorize it by cold hardy on this side, and over here, my May plantings that'll go out into the garden in May on this side. So starting at the top, we have Snapdragons 238, Stock 84, Bells of Ireland 26, Lysianthus 51. My Lysies are doing okay. Huge success. I'll show you those in a little bit. Pansies and Violas 69, Foxglove at 32, Sweet Peas 130, Calendula 36. I think I'll do even more of these next year. Bachelor Buttons 28, and Iceland Poppies 30. Now for the flowers that'll go out into the garden in May. I've started these more recently, so I'll let you take a peek at a few of them after this as well. But we have Gumfrina 21, Strawflower 28, Zinnias 48, Cosmos 14, Celosia or Celosia 22, Amaranth 48, Phlox 15, Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus 17, and our totals. When I calculated all of those up, 724 cold hardy, May plantings 213, a total of 937. Now let's look at veggies. With veggies, I only did one tray, so you can see artichoke 9, tomatoes 30, hot peppers 20, bell peppers 16, for a total of 75. So added together with the flowers at 937, we have 1,012 seedlings. And there's actually been a couple other seedlings that I started as well, but that's not counting those, that's not counting tulips, not counting dahlias. It's strictly just the seedlings that are going into my cut flower beds. So now I can start to plan better and more efficiently where each flower is going to go within the space that I have for it, knowing how many I have. Ideally, you could probably do this and work the reverse way of what I did it, where you know how much space you have and you can just start the appropriate amount of seedlings for where you want everything. But I didn't have it together that well in the beginning, and I'm just learning about planning and all of this and making it the most efficient process it can be. So that's where we're at. I'll do a separate video on how I'm planning on putting specific varieties or flowers in certain places and the spacing I'm using and more in-depth things like that. That can be its own whole video. But real quick before you go, let's look at some of those May plantings and also my Lysianthus. Here we are in here. This grow light is pretty packed. Got the fan going. I'll turn that off. Here's my ThermaPro humidity and temperature reader that I talked about in my last haul, and I'm really enjoying it. Oh, you can just turn the light back on and you see, so it's 72.6 degrees down here and 41% humidity. Let's first look at one of my challenges. Vegetable gardeners, put your ears on please, because I need your help. Here are my pepper seedlings, and all these right here in the second row are jalapenos, but you can see what's happening to my leaves there. We've got some leaf curl. This one here is by far the worst. You can see those are pretty much completely closed. And these are starting to a little bit, but better than this one. And I think it's the watering. I think I'm learning I'm a classic overwater-er. Let me know what you think if that's the problem, and let me know how often you're watering. I'm doing every day if I feel like the top of the soil is dry, but I think maybe I'm giving them too much. So please comment below and let me know your thoughts on that. Here's some cherry caramel phlox that I planted, and these are looking good. They did fine with germination for me, and these need to be severely blackened out. So all I did was started on like the rest of them, and then a couple days in, I just put a paper towel right over this section, covering all of this, and lifted it up and checked on it a little bit each day, and they germinated well. And then on this side is a succession planting of Snapdragons, because I was worried about those others. I started another tray, and this is one of those trays that was pre-filled with soil. I did a video on that, and I decided I'm going to, if I find trays like that, I can use them, but I'm going to dump out the soil and moisten it, because these are going dry pretty quickly, and it's been difficult to keep evenly moist. So that's my thought on those pre-filled soil trays, but at least the Snapdragons have good germination. Once they're a little bigger, I'll make sure they're one per cell or start to transplant them out into a little bigger cell. So that's good. And this is the actual tray I used in that pre-filled soil tray video, and these guys did well. It's looking pretty good. Maybe one or two cells that didn't germinate, but overall these are all asters, looking good. Scabiosa. I'm happy with that. And the last tray I'll show you down here is my zinnias. They're looking good. I just went through and thinned recently. And I've also got cosmos here and up here. And I just noticed they're starting to put on their first true leaves. How exciting. And then down here we've got some celosia. One last thing, I want you to see the mahogany splendor hibiscus. They're already starting to get pretty big. This is one of the things I'm most excited for in the cut flower garden this year. Now the ones that I think I transplanted these just a little later than I did these. After filming this, I realized what I had done. I planted 3 seeds in each of the circle cells and then moved the extra seedlings that had germinated into the square ones. So you can see the ones that have moved are a little behind the others. We'll run up and check the Lysianthus and then we'll wrap this up. Here's some of the Lysianthus. It's growing. Probably not as far as it technically should be along. These were started in January, but I still have way more than last year. I put 4 in the ground last year, and I've I think it was 52, my inventory says. So we're doing good. I've still got some that are smaller. Like that one's probably not gonna make it, but I'm still really happy with that. And that'll do it for this video, everyone. Please comment below and let me know if you do a seed inventory or how you figure out where all your things are gonna go, what your process is, or if you just fly by the seat of your pants, which is fine, because I do that a lot. Let me know how your seedlings are doing, and if you haven't, please subscribe to follow along on my channel. I'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!